Hi.
Jake, you look so much better. Hello, how are
Oh,
you?
better.
Needless to say, we have a lot to talk about.
We do. Um, I was pretty sick last week,
Yeah,
and
you you definitely did not look good.
I didn't look good. What did you say about me with the hoodie?
You had your hoodie on and a beard, and so the whole podcast you were like this. Yeah, cool. Yeah, okay, we are we done?
And
Couldn't
then I
hear
felt
it.
my mic was like so far away, it felt like you couldn't hear anything I said.
Yeah, it was a mess. We lost followers in droves.
It's just when it's a bad pod, I don't like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you better make up for it now.
I mean, you and Jenna made up for it, but I just didn't bring it.
Well, we had our star. We had our star guest,
Yeah.
one of our star guests, I should say, as to not insult the others.
Yeah. It's not
But
that any guest is better than any other,
no,
but,
no, no,
but who else had a part two in the
right?
first 5 episodes?
I know. And we can't hurt Jeremy. God forbid. He's a Sensi boy. We
Yeah.
won't hurt
Shout
Jeremy.
out, shout out to Jeremy. I
Shout
did
out to
try to get my Jeremy on
yes.
today, but he had to work.
Shoot.
Not in place of Jenna, but for a future one.
For
So
future. Yeah,
future,
yeah. Right. For future. Right.
future.
The
So
old future pod.
yeah, I feel
Uh,
like um I feel, I feel like I actually don't like when you're listening to pods and you can tell they recorded it like way in
yeah.
advance, like they're like banking podcasts. But
Yes.
like you'll be talking to them and they'll be talking about like spring, and you're
Yeah.
like, it's almost fall.
You're
It,
like, what are you doing?
I want it to be like within the at least like the last few weeks, the pod.
Right.
I
Well,
don't.
and I mean, we would never do that personally.
We would never treat our audience that way,
No, I mean, we treat people with respect and dignity.
right? Most of them
We treat them with respect and dignity.
better. You have to talk with the back of your voice. It's
I
like the
don't even know what that means.
it's like the Kardashian thing is like the I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be able to do it because I'm on the spot.
Yeah.
It's like a shoot.
Just like tell me about your salad.
It's like the thing. No, I felt like I did it so good when we weren't recording.
Well, let's ask Kim to be on. Kim Kardashian. We'll have her on. She'll
Kim,
know immediately how.
she's always like, I've never watched
Yeah.
the show, but she's always like, it feels like she's always shocked by how someone treated her. And I and I did like so much for them. And then they wipe their tears away with their pinkies. They do like the thing where
Well, they just go like this because
they
they
just
like,
like they don't want to mess up their makeup. So they
yeah,
it's just it's really disappointing. I really
yeah,
thought they would.
yeah, yeah. See,
And they do it at the same time. It's like they have to like, and then like they compose themselves and they're like, and so yeah, I had to learn. I had to
it's because from here to here, cost 5 grand each eye
mm,
in Kardashian. I can imagine the night routine, day routine, concealer, brightener, Botox injections. Yeah, and I yeah.
have they done so much work there that it's like when when Michael Jackson's nose would fall off, like it's just not real anymore. Like if they wipe too hard, it would be like tissue paper, and then you would just like
Oh,
see the bones underneath.
I don't know why it's grossing me out just thinking about it.
Yeah, grosses me out thinking about
Um,
the Kardashians too.
oh God. Speaking of bones falling off and or skin, we watched that documentary. Did I already bring this up?
No,
Yeah, I did. I
which
think I've already brought it up before. That documentary about the New Zealand volcano that exploded. It's a
mm,
documentary on Netflix.
I don't
And
think so. If it was last week, I don't remember.
oof. Yo, oh no, I didn't bring it up last week. No. Um, and I'm not going to tell people to watch it. It's so horrific. These poor people. My thing though is like as far as scary vacations, there's just a couple things I feel like I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
One would be like go to a volcano that scale of 1 to 3, it was at a 2 that it might explode. To me,
That's like a really
one,
short.
one would have been one would have been enough.
You can't do like 1 to 10 and give you a little bit of nuance, like
That
4.
was my first concern was that the number only went to 3.
Right.
That
Like one's fine, 2 you might die. It's
3
like
you will.
you will die. That's not a lot of like
There's not leeway.
variance. There's not a lot of leeway there.
No. So it was a 2. And the girl being interviewed, poor thing, she was on her honeymoon. She didn't even want to go. And her husband was like, no, we're going. I mean, they're still together. So horrific. This documentary was so awful. But it definitely made me be even firmer in my decision to, 1, never go on a volcano. 2, I will continue to not go on cruises. Cruises are my other vacation I don't want to go on ever again because now I feel like once a month on the news, someone is gone. Cruise ship missing.
Cruise ship missing? Like a whole ship?
No, just people on cruise ships.
Yeah, but it's usually like, I mean, like in that case, it would be Darren doing it. It's not like people are just on a cruise, like enjoying their time, and all of a sudden they fall off the side of the boat.
No, that's what they keep acting like it is. They're like,
Well, then they were drinking or something. It's not like they slipped on a ice cube and flew
I'm
off.
not gonna, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna give it a try.
I don't really want to go on a cruise, not because I think I'll die, just because I don't feel
Trust
like I
it.
want to go on a cruise.
I mean, there's been numerous couples, newlyweds. It's like Jenny and Matt went on their honeymoon. Little
Everything was good
everything
until it
was great.
wasn't.
Yeah. And
And
then
then
it just
it's
shows
like,
them.
yeah,
And then it's like interviewing Matt like afterwards with all the like camera clicks. And he's like, I just love Jenny so much. And like I can picture that being me and Darren.
it's
And
always like, and then Jenny found out about his gambling. And then like everything was good. And then Matt was racking up
then
$120,000 debt at the craps table. And then he was dead.
and then Jenny woke up in the middle of the night and thought, where is he? And then it goes to Jenny and she's like, I woke up and I was like, where is he? And then it goes back, where is he? And then he's at the table, he's at the place, the
And then
gambling.
Keith Morrison's like, where was he? And then he wasn't there. Oh no.
Did you find him?
Did you
No, he
find
was dead. Oh,
no?
we really need to put a link to that Saturday Night Live skit on this episode
Yeah.
because it's the best thing ever.
The best is when he's like, and we found him in the trunk. Was he all right? No, he was dead.
You
Oh,
gotta ask Jenna to do her impression because she actually does it really well. Well, was he all right? No, he was dead.
oh no.
Oh no. Oh my god. We should start doing favorite SNL skits too. I know that
Are
can
you
get
a big SNL person? I'm a pretty big SNL person.
yeah, I feel like I don't watch it every Saturday night, but I will sit down every couple like month or two and binge like every single one.
I don't watch a lot of like recent Saturday night, probably like the last 2 or 3 years. I do feel like it is like what they say, where it's like the one you grew up with
Is the
and
one you like the most.
others, but like it's not something you kind of grow up. It's not like something that you grow with. It's sort of like you like a certain era or a certain
Yeah,
cast. But I
like it
really
had its moment, and then once it's passed, it's passed.
yeah, because it's kind of like not for you anymore. It's like you have the humor that you had when you were young or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So because I listened to like the podcasts on it, where they interview like old cast members, and I've read like books on the writers. I read Bob
Uh-huh.
Kirk's book. where he talks about writing in the 90s when it was like Conan and all that. Like I can
Yeah.
eat anything like comedy writing or from comedians, I'll eat up like all of
Yeah.
that. I love comedy, but it's like at some point you don't find like the current stuff as funny just
Yeah.
because it's like made for a different like attention span or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, like they did the skit on the app, the Be Real app,
Oh, I
and
haven't
it's
seen
like
that
in
one.
the middle of a bank robbery, and it was like doo doo doo, like the little noise that comes on.
Yeah.
And the robber guys were like, "Oh, it's time to be real." And like everybody in the bank is like being held up and like going to be murdered, and they're like trying to be real. And if you didn't have the app or like, like that kind of stuff, like you wouldn't know what that
Yeah.
was. But I thought it was pretty funny. But what was the one? Did you see the one recently? The like the football player guy was on. It wasn't actually super recently, but he actually was bringing his American Doll to an American Doll restaurant, and it was like his little
No,
daughter American Doll. Oh my god, that
no.
cracked me up.
All right.
But
I'll
because
check
it
it
was
out.
such an odd mix, it was like this football player. I'm gonna get. I'm gonna. People are gonna hate me that I don't know who this guy is, but I can't remember it right this second. But he has like an American Doll on a date with him, and it's like supposed to be his daughter. And there's other people there that have their actual child, and
Oh,
he's like ordering food for this doll, and they're like, "Are you okay?" Anyways, I'm not gonna even try to describe it because I'll blow it. But that was like the most recent one that I thought was so funny.
all right. I'll check it out. When we were in Montreal last week, we were talking about SNL a lot because it was like Seth and Whitney and us, but
Yeah,
then like, and then Luke and Gemma, but Gemma's from Ireland, so she has like a
yeah,
completely different sense of humor. And so when
yeah.
you're showing her like old Chris Farley skits, like she had never seen, or even Luke hadn't seen the Matt Foley, like motivational speaker
Wow.
and all of those. And it was like funny trying to like explain to somebody that this is really funny. And then
Yeah, that's so weird because
they
would
didn't
they?
grow up on it. So they're just kind of like, kind of, they get it. Like they're like, no, I get it. It's just like kind of like misses them. It's like too silly or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you watched it for the first time at like 12 or 13,
The
it's
funniest thing ever.
funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like with that movie, like Jenna always laughs at that movie, Almost Famous with Chris Farley, and where he's
Oh,
like
almost
helping
heroes.
or Almost Heroes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that movie is like one of the most quotable movies. Like we quote it all the time. But I can imagine someone that's not in that like same time frame or humor.
Mm,
Like, I don't quite get it. But
yeah.
like to us, it's always so funny. I feel like that also translates into like dating people, like where you're dating someone, what their humor is,
Yeah.
like it can go really good, or you can like start to date someone and they think they're really funny and in their area they're a really funny person, but to you they're not because you're culturally from different backgrounds and you're like, we have to break up.
You're- they're like trying to entertain all your friends, and you're like, it's
Yeah.
not working.
I'm like, you know what? This has actually gone so bad.
Stop.
Yeah, please stop being funny. I don't remember what show I was watching the other day on Hulu, but it was like this girl, she was a comedian and she was dating this guy and they were interviewing the guy and it was like reality TV. And it wasn't about comedy, but it was just a segment of it. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go see her comedy show. It's either going to go really, really good or it's going to go so bad. And I'm never going to go out on a date with her again." So the whole time she's like on the like doing her comic act, I'm literally just like waiting. Like, I'm like, is this going to be good? If it's going to be good, good. If it's not, it's so cringy.
Yeah.
It was mediocre. I feel like our sense of humor is pretty top tier, but of course, that again is just within our realm of what we
It's
think is funny.
subjective. What we think is
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, right. But man, was I nervous for that girl. I was like, oh God, what would I say if I was a comedian, quote unquote comedian, and like your boyfriend's like, I'm gonna come and hear one of your comedy strip. Oh my, the anxiety through the roof immediately.
Yeah.
All security of like thinking you're funny, I think would go out the window.
But if you're a comedian, you have to be comfortable not being funny.
Yeah.
Like Norm Macdonald was the best at like he would go up and just not be funny for 20 minutes just because he didn't care.
Yeah.
And he knew he was funny, but like he didn't care if everyone thought he was. It's almost like a lot of comedians have to be able to like sit in
The like
negativity.
awkwardness.
You have to like be able to like sit in a room with a bunch of people where they're all looking at you and not be funny to get over the fact that like you're gonna be trying stuff, and if it doesn't work, you're just gonna like bomb.
Gotta
And
just move on with life.
yeah, like every
Yeah,
comedian
I
talks
would,
about how the first time they go on stage they just kill and they're like, oh, this is easy, and then they just suck for like a year.
oh God. See, it's like the pressure, the bar is like already set at that point. It's like you can't go away from it,
Yeah,
you know, especially if you're a people pleaser. I mean, that's just like a cocktail for self-esteem. Just
yeah,
like you're waiting on everyone to like laugh their heads off and be like, this was the best thing we ever heard, and this crickets.
yeah.
Oh,
But if you do say the right thing and people do laugh, that's got to be like the biggest
the,
high of
the
anything.
best feeling ever.
It's like you could make music and suck, but if you wrote a song that everyone, I like for me, even like one hit wonders,
Yeah.
like you can write one song. I don't know how to, I can't even like put my head around how to like make, like write a song. So if
Yeah.
you make one song that's good,
Yeah.
like good from Better Than Ezra. I don't know what the heck they've done for 25 years, but they wrote
but
good,
but they wrote good.
and good is good.
Yeah. And Matchbox 20.
No.
No. Oh no.
Matchbox 22. Speaking of which, maybe we should throw her in the mix.
Okay, yes.
Miss Matchbox.
Let's welcome our evanescence. I mean our effervescent.
And then we'll just continue the convo.
Yes.
Oh,
Matchbox
Oh,
22.
did you just get done with a Revlon audition?
oh,
Oh, I didn't even have time to put my makeup on today. Just
this just
rolled out of
happened.
bed. Actually, I feel like my computer has decided to glamour me, and I don't know how to turn it off, but I don't think I want to either. I think it
Oh,
just knows who
Oh,
needs it and it just kind of assigns it.
now
gotcha.
that you're saying that, maybe I should try to work on mine while you're
No, your brows
yeah.
look phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you.
About
Can
mine,
you
I
hear
haven't
us?
shaved my middle brow in a while. How's my brow?
You know, it's
Looking
like we're
good.
not gonna say anything, but it looks phenomenal as well.
Oh, I just clicked touch up my appearance and see how that looks.
Oh,
How
Is
did
that
you even
better?
find that so fast?
oh, wow. Look at Jake's skin. Luminescent.
Whoa.
It's better after being sick for 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's only up from there.
Yeah.
Do you know what you had?
I think just like a stomach bug or something, but I was like so nauseous. I barely remember doing the pod last week. And then I just went back to bed and I couldn't sleep at night. Like I don't have apnea, but at night I'll get apnea. Like
Yeah.
when I'm sick. So if I'm really sick,
Are you talking about apnea?
apnea.
Apnea only happens at night.
I don't get apnea. No, I don't get apnea unless I'm sick, not only at night.
Oh, okay.
Like if I'm sick and it's like swollen in my throat or something like that, I'll wake up with that like I can't breathe thing like every 5 minutes.
You're sure it's not Chelsea
Cool.
just gently?
Just like yeah. But it was a few days. I lost like 10 pounds in 3 days.
Oh, can I get it?
Yeah.
Send out the link.
Yeah, it's a new diet plan called Get Violently Ill and Lose
Yeah.
10 pounds.
Violently ill pills come free with every Alka purchase this month. It's incredible.
Oh my God. Can you imagine? Alka's like listening and they're like, don't associate us with that type of stuff.
Do you know Frugal's the Frugal's chain out here? Or maybe it's just a
Frugal.
couple of them. There's like this little restaurant called Frugal's like 5 minutes from our house, and it's a chain, but apparently they had a listeria outbreak recently and 3 people died.
Oh my God.
I was
In
like,
Port Angeles?
Hmm?
In Port Angeles?
I don't know if it was here or just one of the surrounding Frugals chains, but yeah, it's like you hear about people getting ill, but I was like, wow,
I mean, you
3
hear about
downs.
people being frugal, but not going to frugals and dying.
Yeah.
Not in this house. The
Not
first part.
right. No, you wouldn't know the first thing about a frugals.
Devin needs a little trip to Frugals, Frugal Town.
Devin actually could use some more frugals in his life.
You guys treat it like you treated Cheats, like where you would go to get like fries every day?
No, well,
Or
with
like,
the fry subscription, did you see how Sheets had a fry
oh, I love
subscription?
that.
Like
I love that Sheets had a fries subscription. You could just pay like a monthly fee for all the fries you could eat.
That is
it's a
awesome.
genius for West Virginia, really.
Yeah.
But no, Frugals, we've gone there before, and there's always like a line going down the street of people waiting for it. And I thought it was good, but I didn't know if it really like merited the 20-minute wait to get a burger.
Oh, so
And now the
it's like
lines are probably
burgers.
cut down. It's like burgers and fries and shakes and stuff.
You're gonna go now on the line. Yeah, the line's gonna be way back now.
They'll be paying me to eat those burgers.
It's almost like it's the best time to go after a bunch of people died because like they're good.
If
You
if
know
we
that
start
they
talking
cleaned
about
out,
go ahead.
you know, they cleaned out the vats, the oil. It's
Yeah.
new oil now. It's not the old oil. It's fresh stuff, fresh meat.
Yeah.
Like
If somebody starts talking on the podcast, like, I just love a good, safe, frugal burger, you'll know this was recorded like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
Remember that safe chain called Frugals?
do you remember Frugals? I love that place. Nothing bad ever happens there.
But if like a Delta Airlines flight went down, I'd want to be on like the next Delta flight because that's the safest flight you could be on.
Oh yeah.
So it's like if I wanted a burger and I knew a bunch of people just died at Frugals, I'd rather get a Frugals than like a McDonald's burger.
Oh
yeah.
Because they're due. They're coming.
They're ripe for an epidemic.
They're ripe for the picking.
Did you hear that there's a guy in Hawaii? He was in charge of activating the alarm system if there was a nuclear attack in Hawaii, and he accidentally pushed it. And so you can imagine it wreaked havoc. But whatever I was watching, the commentary was like talking about how they were like, we have taken steps to fire that guy. And the guy was like, no, do not fire that guy, because that is the one person that you can guarantee is never going to make that mistake again.
Yeah,
Oh
you're gonna get a new guy in there, and he's like, "What does this button do?" And then like push.
I bet there's always that one thing you could have happen at a job like that. You know what I mean? Like you've always had like at least one job where you're gonna have a mistake, not that bad, obviously. You know, like waiting tables. It was like spilling a drink off a tray onto a person.
Giving someone listeria.
Giving someone listeria.
Oopsie.
Which, speaking of which, what is listeria exactly?
No, I asked the same question and I never looked it up afterwards.
Sounds like something you clean your kitchen with.
Oh, well,
I think that's what Frugals did.
They weren't cleaning at all. That's what caused the issue.
Yeah.
The guy asked for Lysol and the other guy forgot and handed him the listeria bottle, and then wires got crossed.
No, not the listeria.
Jerry, we told you, start reading the labels.
Did you guys work in restaurants when you were young?
Yeah, well, we both worked at the same restaurant here in
The
town. The
Which
Hermitage. The Hermitage Inn and Restaurant. It's like an old, really big house that they turned into like a restaurant and a hotel. And then when Jenna lived with us, we both waited tables there. And we were just slammed with that fried bread and apple butter.
Oh man. Slamming ourselves with it.
Yeah.
The guests were.
Lee was reminding me, you know, Tea with Lee, Jake.
Yeah.
She would come down and visit me and Jenna, and we would be like, just come visit us at the restaurant. We're working. We're talking like 5 hours, just the three of us, just eating just talking, not working.
Man.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
And Lee was like,
Since
how
it was,
it's the Herm, baby. It's the Herm lifestyle.
and we're like, well, this is tips based, so I'm really only hurting myself. That fried bread was so good though. Oh man,
Oh, yeah, it was
I'd
really good.
pay upwards of $20 for a loaf of that fried bread these days.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What
Jenna,
were you gonna
tell
ask,
us
Liz?
about the maraschino cherries at Shop and Save. I think that'll settle in why you cannot go to a grocery store in a small town like this sometimes.
Well, it was when I was living in Nicaragua, and like, West Virginia, it is like country for sure. Like it's rural. But some of the stereotypes are like a little over exaggerated. But I went home for a visit, and I was in Petersburg, and I went into Shop and Save there, and I'm looking around, and we were gonna make sundaes or something, and I was like, do you have any maraschino cherries? And the guy in the he just happened to be standing in the fruit section. He just like looked up at me like a deer in the headlights, and he was like, um. I'm sorry, ma'am. Them aren't in season right now. It's just like the jar, the baby jar that you put on ice cream. He was like, oh, of course, absolutely. And then immediately, the next day, I went. The Rite Aids there sell liquor, and so I was like in the liquor aisle, kind of like walking down, and this man comes in, and he's like holding his baseball cap to his chest, like he's in church or something, kind of just like walking back and forth. And finally, he came up to me. He's like, "Ma'am, can you tell me where the Jim Beam begins and ends? For I can I can neither. Dang it, Chelsea, cut it." He was like, "Can you tell me where?"
No, start over. Say it again.
He was like, "Ma'am, can you tell me where the Jim Beam begins and ends? I can neither read nor write." Like, oh, well, this is sad. It was also 10:30 in the morning, so I was like, what? But I was like, in that moment, maybe all of that like kind of rural energy gets just like directed to people visiting in town.
Right.
As locals, you don't get that all the time. But I feel like in that case, I was like, wow, this is really an experience.
We also drove
Say that,
home.
like there is a certain type of person that you are prone to see at certain places, like a sheet that feels very West Virginia.
Yeah.
Just because they're getting their subscribed fries.
But you throw out, fry subscriptions, and of course you're
Oh. Oh.
But I will say that like overall, we love West Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like some of our stories are like the heightened because we think they're funny too. Like you can come to West Virginia and either be like, I'm going to embrace this weird, like, that type of story and just laugh it off and still love it. Or you can be like, oh, well, everyone is like that. But though I feel like some of those stories are like our favorite stories ever that we've experienced. Jenna coming out of 7-Eleven with just a 6-pack at one point, and it was after a meeting, and she was getting in the car, and the guy next to us who was in this like massive old like very like high off the ground Chevy, and he was yelled over to Jenna. Like Jenna looks like really nice, and he is just like this like redneck dude. He's like, "Whoa, looks like somebody's about to get right tonight. Am I right, ladies?" That's like normal. That's like a very normal interaction. Plus, I'll say if there's any single women out there who need a boost for their self-esteem, come on down. I mean, you're going to get the calls.
All right. So growing up in West Virginia together as sisters, what
As one.
what was it like? Do you feel like it was a unique growing up, or was it pretty standard? Like, because you both also travel a lot, so it's not like you don't see the rest of the country or world.
Yeah.
But you grew up in a very unique, like we joke, but also it is kind of a funny place.
Oh, it's definitely funny-ish. I definitely feel. Yeah, Jenna, you say first. What do you feel like?
I mean, I think like when when we were younger, because Melissa was born in California and then they moved out to West Virginia before I was born. And so when I was, early teens, like 13, I was just like, I can't believe mom and dad left California, like to come out
California?
here. What?
What?
Stuart? But yeah, like we ended up in West Virginia, and it's like, where nothing's going on, kind of, as far as like, not nothing, but it's calm. It's a calm place with not very much economy. But I feel like now that I'm grown, I'm really glad we did, because it kind of gives you a different perspective, I think, than if you grow up in a place where everybody's kind of on the same like path. It makes you enjoy like the simplicity that we were raised around. And I think we were in a hall where almost everybody was older. Like there was a pretty huge older set. So I think it helps you to learn how to interact with people that you don't have a lot in common with, or that might be a little bit older. And I don't know, I'm really glad that we grew up there. Like I feel like it does give you just kind of like a little slant in the way you view things. What do
Yeah,
you
it's
think, Liz?
forced to not be quite so cookie cutter, maybe, is what, I mean, and we met a lot of different people that were West Virginian that I feel like we're still really good friends with. But I think mom and dad had a lot to do with it, to be honest. I do feel like mom and dad, because they both came from such different, dad is from Albuquerque, mom is from Boston, then California, then they met in California, and then they moved to, it's like a lot of different things, or maybe it wouldn't have quite turned out that way, but they both had a unique life. And I think combining that then made it easier for us to be appreciating where we were, appreciating mom and dad. But then also as a teenager, you're like, I want to party and go to parties. I want to see cool things. I want to be around the cool things.
Yeah.
So then that's maybe when we would be like, oh, I want to be not in West Virginia. But they were so great about bringing us places like an hour away, 2 hours away,
Yeah.
hang out with our friends. I think that made a huge difference.
So you think it made you like adaptable, that you could be around kind of anyone?
Yeah,
based
sure.
From
Yeah, I think so. Like, because I think Jenna has now been, like, she was in Nicaragua around a different culture. She was in West Virginia around that culture. I feel like then when we are here, we're in, around smaller towns, smaller people that haven't really got out and done anything, but you can still talk to them like they're a normal person. It's not like they're like or something. But I think the stigma is there for sure, and you can see why sometimes. But I think it definitely, like you said, made it easier for us to be able to communicate with either way. Like, it didn't matter.
So how would you compare Jenna, Port Angeles to where you've lived before? Or like, what is that?
I would say, I mean, Port Angeles is definitely, I mean, it definitely has more available here as far, access to food and shopping or what. I like in West Virginia, it was like even just to go, like you'd have to go an hour to go to like Walmart or, to a bigger store. It's definitely a little more gritty, I think. Like, actually, the other day we went to leave the house and like go down the road, and there was a cop car there, and they were like, "You're gonna have to get redirected." And we texted our neighbor who lived like right in front of that area. We're like, "Hey, like, what's going on? Why is the road closed?" And he's like, "I guess they found a body on the side of the road." Just like,
Oh,
What?
hey,
wow.
yeah. So details details are fuzzy, but it's like, yeah, there's a little more grit to this area, but you have way more available, like, stores and food wise. And just different. The landscape is just different. It's nice being by the big, big mountains and next to the ocean, but it's like West Virginia has a very unique beauty and plenty of outdoor stuff to do there too.
I
They
definitely,
both got there.
yeah, I definitely like feel like growing up in Washington, where I did, I still like that area as far as like it's got like that home feel. Like I know where everything is, but I'm not really drawn to it. I love being in New York. I love being on the East Coast. The most like nostalgic I felt for Washington was last year when I flew out and stayed with you guys and Travis and Victoria, and like that area is like what feels like the best of Washington is like
Mm.
being on the Puget Sound, seeing the island, seeing like having that like salt air and all of that. It's a very like appealing place for me.
Yeah.
We loved it when we went to visit Jenna and Devin. I felt like I've never been there before, and Jenna's lived in a lot of different places. So visiting her is all, you know, it's like she was here, she was in Nicaragua, she lived with us for a while. Like she moved to Moorfield before to go to school, like in Winchester to massage. But for some reason, going down there, like in that area, to me, like it felt like it was more of like a hometown type of vibe. And I really like that. But then it would have like a grocery store that like actually sold beet juice, right? Which is like here, it's like you don't even know what that is. No one here would be even drinking, you know, it's
That's
like
out of season right now.
OJ is on aisle 2, and that's what you would be drinking. But but that's interesting because I did feel that way when we were down there visiting them. Like I was like, I love this. Like it feels like a small town, but it's not. You can still get certain things. And it did have like a feeling of nostalgia. Also, where they were living was around a couple trailer parks, which I find to be specifically endearing.
Mm.
You got to see the neighbor moving his bus from the left side of the yard to the right
Yeah.
side of the yard. And
That really pulls
Yeah.
at the heartstrings.
Are you guys on
Yeah.
the property now?
yeah, we're in an RV on the property.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's been nice to actually be out here. And I think it's like there's such an abundance of outdoor areas like to enjoy. So like within our house, did we go well, you know Lake Crescent.
I mean, I've been there before just because from going out there to surf and stuff.
Yeah. So our property now is like 20 minutes basically from like this really beautiful like alpine lake that you can just swim in the summer, or it's like you have the mountains, or you can drive down to the beach. It's probably a mile and a half from our property. So I'm really excited. And there's a little river spot we just found, which I want to take you guys to all these spots. But
Yeah.
I think like it's nice to kind of have a variety of places close to where you are that you feel like you can just kind of bop out and go to. But like every place has its own little gems.
Well,
But when you were there, Jake, you felt like it was kind of like homey.
I
What
think
made it different that time, do you think?
I think like when I go back to Washington, it's like we're uh in the area that we lived in, and like all of our friends over the last 8 years have kind of scattered a little bit, so it doesn't feel like everyone's close for one. And then it's just we grew up in an area that's just gotten more and more developed. So when I go to Aaron's house, which is like Eastern Washington in the mountains, it feels more Washington, like hasn't changed like that much, and I like that feeling like in the mountains. But then going out, like me and Gents drove into Seattle and then took the ferry from downtown, and just like seeing the city on like a beautiful day, and then going out to the peninsula, driving out there. Uh, Me and Devin and Travis and Gents took the boat out, and we crabbed and ate oyster, like shucked oysters, and had Rainier. It
Yeah.
was just like it felt like Seattle, like or felt like Washington, like what
Yeah.
like it almost feels like doing that stuff now. It's like I didn't do it enough growing up there. Like you just makes you feel like you didn't do enough. Or even like we never went to Alaska, and it's so close. It's like
How
you
far is
think
it?
about all the stuff that you should have done growing up there, and then you get more nostalgic for some of the like not the normal stuff that you always did, like going out on the peninsula, or like being out on the peninsula and going out on the water, and just enjoying like a kind of like a harbor town stuff.
How
Just
far is Alaska from?
it's not far, but it's like from the East Coast, it's like super far trip. Where
Yeah.
from Seattle, it'd be like being in New York and flying to like Atlanta, I think, or something.
Oh, okay.
Not
Okay.
that far. And I just never did it. And now like we want to go to Alaska, and we could have done it when we lived that close.
Yeah.
or just spent more time in the islands, or like that to me is like quintessential Washington, like beauty
Yeah.
and so, and then also the mountains, like the Cascades. So
I feel like whenever you're also like pulling in, like I feel like when wherever me and Jenna were, like in the town is Hinton, the bottom part, then you drove up to like where we actually lived on the top of a mountain, Jumping Branch. So Hinton was the little town. And pulling into it, you're on the side of a mountain and the river's not over here. And there is something about the pulling in, like the driving in, like you're talking about, like being on the boat. And there's something about that initial going into the town. Even I feel like that's the most nostalgic. And you
Mhm.
can't like just go right back to when you're like a teenager or younger, remembering everything about it. You know, for me, that drive through, right? Like going into town. Do you feel like that,
Mhm.
Jenna, when we're driving and take the exit?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think crossing, because it's like anytime you cross over water, like bridge into an area, then it feels like, like you've arrived. Like whenever we go down from Hinton or down from Jumping Branch into Hinton, I feel like when you like pull over the bridges to get into town, it's just kind of like we're
Yeah.
here. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
nostalgic.
yeah.
Now, is because whenever, and two, like even like going where Darren's from, like that drive, like thinking about driving from our house to Darren's house, that drive with us dating, I can even
Mhm.
like think about that and it brings you back kind of then too.
Yeah.
You remember like when you were dating Chelsea, like having to go visit each other, or did you live closer together? I don't remember you saying that before.
It was probably like a half an hour. I lived in like
So,
Kirkland and she lived in Sammamish for a lot of it.
okay.
And it wasn't like super far, but just thinking of like how little I want to drive anywhere now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it was just like, oh, it's like a half an hour. Or like if it was an hour, it would have been like, oh, it's just an hour. But
yeah.
now I'm like, you want me to drive like 25 minutes on like a Tuesday?
Uh,
Uh,
yeah. Oh my gosh.
City
Even
travel
like,
snob.
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because even now, like Lee will always say that too. Like when people are like, oh, how far away do you live? Like from Melissa, and we're 45 minutes from each other. And they're like, oh my God, that's far.
Well, I feel like growing up, like all of our closest friends were like 3.5 to 4 hours away. So
Yeah.
then it's like anything under that, you're just like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
a piece of cake.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, when you
Yeah.
guys were talking about comedians earlier, I just wanted to ask you, like, do you feel like the Chris Farley era was like the ultimate SNL era?
Mm,
Probably as far as like it was towards the end of Dana Carvey, but you still had like David Spade was there. And I think Farley came in with like Sandler and Chris Rock. There was like that era there, but I feel like when I was actually like high school was like Will Ferrell
Mhm.
and like
I feel like Will Ferrell,
Chris
Jimmy Fallon,
Kattan.
yeah,
Yeah,
Chris
like
Kattan, like them in that like really high end store with the like black outfits on and
oh,
like
that's so
thing.
good. The little
That,
phones, the
yeah,
little phones. Yeah,
hello.
Yeah.
And like Will Ferrell's on his little motorcycle or like little thingy. He rides around the store and then he gets up and just walks. And so you
yeah,
realize he's not even paralyzed. That era to me, maybe what is the best one.
yeah.
It's funny how like I almost feel like there are some that felt really funny at the time, but they just don't age well. Like I
Mm,
feel like, I mean, for me, like uh Andy Samberg, Adam Sandler,
yeah.
they have not aged well for me now. Like
Hmm.
when I look, sorry, is Adam Sandler, you took
Oh,
offense at that.
No,
Adam
no. It's like
Sandler was our guest next week. So
And
Jenna
now
would be
he's
like, first of all, big fan. I
first of
love
all, love
everything
him.
that you do.
oh, it's those small nuggets no one has heard before.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I feel like some of them just age really, really well. Like Chris Farley, I feel like has aged really, really well, but
Yeah.
other ones, it's kind of like it's almost like they had a very specific brand and then somehow it just got a little stale.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely feel what's the guy that the the young guy, the curly haired guy that was not Pete Davidson. Before Pete Davidson, he was like him and then Pete Davidson, I feel like, on SNL.
Oh, Kyle Mooney.
Yeah, Kyle Mooney. Like I felt like I felt like he was pretty good.
I thought he was super funny. I think Bill Hader is probably like one of my favorite.
Jenna loves Bill Hader too.
I love Bill Hader.
Yeah.
Did you see where he actually met Keith Morrison?
Yeah.
That was like you could tell he was fully starstruck.
Yeah.
Really? I did not see that.
Yeah. He has like the best, if you go on like YouTube and watch like Bill Hader like impressions and stuff, like he does like the best Lorne Michaels on like, because he'll like go on Conan all the time, and I just think he's probably like, as far as like his characters and then also his impressions and just his like sense of humor, I think he's like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And
he's fantastic.
And him and Thomason too.
What's a comedian that you saw in person that you liked? Any of them like actually like go to a show?
I haven't really gone to like a lot of comedian shows. I can't even like think of one.
Yeah, we haven't been to one either. We were gonna go to Nate Bargatze. We were gonna go see Nate Bargatze in COVID, but it got canceled because of COVID. But like I just feel like in person, I mean, I'm sure it would be amazing and fun, but I do feel like you can just watch it still at home and it'd be almost as funny as seeing it in person, but I'm sure that's probably not. I don't know.
I think like comedians are really like, I'm more prone to listen to a podcast with two comedians talking than I am to like listen to their special.
Yeah.
Like it's more like their that brain and like what they think of and how they think about things. That's more entertaining to me than like an hour that they've spent like 8 months like getting right.
Yeah.
It's still funny like what they have to say, but like it's just like the way that the comedic brain works is really intriguing to me and also entertaining. Like I like how their perspectives or how they think about things I like relate to. But
if you could sit in like the writer's room for one of those comedy shows, like one of the great comedy shows, I mean, imagine like being in like the Seinfeld or like 30 Rock or Arrested Development, like writing rooms and just like listening to them kind of like brainstorm, I feel like would just be amazing to see how things develop.
Sometimes on like podcasts, someone will ask like one of the SNL writers, like, what's a skit that never got on that you thought was funny? And then it's like that thing where the person's like explaining a skit that's not very funny, but they're laughing so hard because they think it's funny. And like that to me is more funny than, and I know that if I watched that skit, I'd be like, what the heck is going on right now? But hearing like their perspective and why they thought it was funny is like super entertaining to me. Like, it's kind of like all the how the sausage was made part that I think is like super fascinating and funny.
What's the book that girl wrote recently? I'm glad that my mom died. And she got a bunch of criticism because they were like, that's not nice, like that's so harsh or whatever. I haven't read that book, but I really do want to read it because I feel like I have
a lot in common.
We have things to talk about, me and her.
You want to know about our family life, Jake? Well, this is a real reveal here.
Yeah.
So here we go, Susie Spritzer.
So finally we get into the deep. So Melissa.
Yeah, Mom. And so I was triggered, and don't even get me started on people being triggered. I can't even have a podcast about being triggered.
Wow, you don't get why people would get triggered, or you don't?
I'm triggered by when people say that they're triggered. I get triggered.
So you stay triggered.
I stay in the triggered zone.
You're in a perpetual state of triggered.
Yes. Yes. Hard R on that. I am triggered.
Careful.
I am triggered. Hey, I was with Missy and Ian, and Missy's the one that said that to me.
When did you see them?
At the wedding.
Oh, I thought like since then.
With you.
I haven't even like talked to Ian.
Actually, no, I saw them at Maple Ridge, and it was a joke that we were talking about.
Oh.
Yeah. And it was very funny, but I will not repeat it.
All right. I'll ask Ian.
Yeah, just ask Ian about it. I'll text Jenna about it later. Edit this out.
Yeah. Oh, it's gone. It's as good as gone already.
It's as good as gone. Chelsea's already put a red slash mark through minute number 14. Minute 14, no,
Chelsea's
that's all
been the
gotta go.
Chelsea's been like the most sleepy she's been.
Probably
So-
because she was taking care of you last month or last,
Yeah. I kept her up for like a week while I was sick, and then
yeah,
yeah,
up chucking,
checking. Yes.
chucking. That's the word.
did the end of the last podcast where it's just like, you're like, Melissa's done so much word vomit, I'm gonna go really vomit now, and then just cuts to the screen. It's like, he did.
Yeah. She like finished that. She's like, see, and she like showed me.
I
Like,
loved it that Chelsea sent us a picture of you and we barely had even hit end Zoom and you were in bed already.
I literally wanted to
Look-
die. I was so sick. I don't know how I made it through that.
Oh, I don't know either.
It was just like I was so sick. I've never felt I have, but like top
Must have been Holy Spirit.
5 like most sick.
He was frugal
Like-
sick.
You
What's
were
the most sick
frugal.
you've ever been?
Oh, it wasn't COVID. Shockingly enough, it was not COVID.
I think I remember one time in Nicaragua, Doug and I both got the same bacterial infection from something we ate before the assembly.
Oh,
Oh, I think I
and
remember.
I just remember, just being so ill and like could barely eat anything, nothing
The
stays in, everything
projectile-
goes out. And I just remember they were going to the assembly one day and Doug decided to go ahead and go because he was an attendant. And people were like, we just saw him like running to the bathroom, crouched over like all day long, back and forth. And I just remember laying
It's
in
a
bed.
classic Doug to be like, I can power through, and then just be like, take me
Like,
home. Take me home.
And then I just remember getting up and like hearing, I don't know if this is a thing if you have a high fever, but just hearing this like buzzing in my ears that it was. And I got up because they'd been like, make sure you eat something. And I walked in and I just saw this piece of bread that I was like, I'll eat that later. And it was covered in ants. And I was like, well, I tried and just went back to bed. But it's like, you get to a point where you're like, I could die. Like, just take me. It's not even like you're just like beyond caring kind of.
yeah.
But then Sophie and Doug, I could die. Not happily, but I'll do it. But they went to the pharmacy on the way back and just got a pill like that was this big just by description. And we both took it and felt like 99% better by the next day.
What?
Yeah. So
Weird.
modern medicine, it has its virtues.
Place. It has its place.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that the sickest you've ever been, Jake?
No, I think the sickest I've been was a spider bite. Probably like
Ooh.
4 or 5 years ago. I had
Brown
like a spot on
recluse?
I think so, but it was like inside of my thigh, and after a few days, it became like an ulcer. Like it was just like a volcano, and I was like
Oh,
full of charcoal and taking charcoal.
Melissa will not go there on vacation. Just in case you wanted to know.
It was horrific, and like it got to the point where like my fever was like pushing 104, just like everything spinning, just so sick. But it was like so slow. It was like a day where it itched, and then like a day where it kind of had like a sharp pain, and then a day where you saw like a little spot, and then it just got worse and worse. And then the worse it got, the sicker I got, and it was awful. I think that's the sickest I've been with like I've had kidney stuff where like a lot of pain, but not like actually feeling like horribly like fever, sick.
Yeah.
Not sure what's going on where I'm at.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely
What about
got
you, Liz?
the one sickest time. I couldn't think about it, but it came back to me now. I think because I've tried to block it out of my entire existence. Was one night getting a matzo burger from Sheetz. Got food. I saw the advertisement and I don't remember what provoked me to do such a dumb thing, but it's literally just like a hamburger with 5 mozzarella sticks on top, cheese, marinara, and I got that and I was like, man, this thing is good. And I like pounded that down. And then like the next morning, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning. And I remember waking up and I was like, I don't feel great, but I feel like I'm okay. And I remember we had company and I was gonna get up for the meeting in a couple hours. So I was like, I don't feel awesome. I probably just need to go back to sleep for a little while. And I laid back down and then I was like immediately back up and ran to the bathroom and was like projectile vomiting whole matzo sticks, just cheese, just coming out. And I was like, well, as soon as I get this burger out of my system and the matzo sticks, I'll be good to go. You know, where you're like, it'll go away once I actually get the poison out, I'll be fine.
Mhm.
And it just never ended. I vomited and vomited. I vomited like all the way through the meeting. Our company was like, goodbye, bye, feel better. And I was just like, bah. So they left. They go to the meeting. I come back and I'm like, I'll rally. They'll get back from the meeting. I'll be fine. And I was in bed and they came back and my friend opened the door and she was like, are you in here, girl? And I was just, I like couldn't even speak. I just was like, I can't ever look at another
Do you have
matzo.
like a candle, like an old Victorian bedroom?
I think I pulled the covers like up off my feet. It was like, rub the sickness out of me, rub it out of my feet. You know, like
Put
they
the
did.
salve on them.
Yeah, put the salve on my feet, Darren. Darren made sure to like let me know too. Like he was like, it's that matzo burger. You should have never got that.
I feel
I was
like you probably, I'm imagining like you going back to Sheets and saying what happened and then being like, yeah,
it was a matzo
that's
burger.
the point.
Of course.
So you're supposed to lose
Oh,
20
you ate the
pounds.
whole thing in one time at like one time? Of course you got sick.
You're
It's
supposed
like
to eat it in 4
2,700
sittings.
calories. Yeah.
Oh, it was. You know it was. Now I never got sick off this meal, but it probably was 4,000 calories. Is that family traditions meal with
Ooh.
potatoes, a hamburger,
Mm.
Texas toast, covered in gravy, the whole plate, just doused
yeah.
in.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's the best thing you could ever eat. But I made myself stop. I ate it for probably a month, like once a week,
Oh
for
my
maybe
God.
2 months. And I would take like a 3-hour nap afterwards. And I just
You have
craved.
to.
You had to. You couldn't live.
You have to sign a contract that you will nap post meal because it's too dangerous to get on the road if you don't.
Even like we went to, this was like 10 years ago, but we went after meeting, we were like, let's go to Red Robin. Like, let's go to Red Robin. Like, let's
That
just try
loves
it.
Red Robin, and I'm always like, I
Oh,
don't get it.
and I grew up on Red Robin. Like, we'd go all the time. Like, it was just like place
Nostalgia.
all the time. So like, we were like, let's go. We crashed so like we didn't get sick, but it was like we got home from it was like after meeting, go to Red Robin, eat like I had like a wrap too. It wasn't like I had like a burger.
There's something in it though.
Fell asleep for hours. It was just
Yeah,
like
you're drugged.
yeah, you're drugged. You're just down.
There's something about those things that, yes, you're going to be tired. Yes, I'm going to have carb overload, but like it's on another level.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Red Robin. Now, see, I wouldn't expect that from Red Robin. I expect it from family traditions.
I've
Triple
never-
R. Red Robin Roofie.
Yeah.
Red Robin.
Cut that out.
Red Robin repeat.
That'll be our first t-shirt.
You
Red
just
Robin.
tuck it into the wrap.
Yeah. Oh,
Mom
man.
and dad, they had a Cheddar's. They built a Cheddar's where mom and dad live. And, you know, it's really upscale now that me and Jenna moved away. There's like, so there's
They're
a
like, all right, they're
Cheddar's
gone.
now. Yeah. Oh, they're gone. Time to live it up.
Yeah.
The roller skating rink. And now mom and dad are like obsessed with Cheddar's. We're like, what are you doing tonight? And mom's like, I'm going to go with Shawnette to Cheddar's. It's so good. And they love it. They love it. They go every weekend. I feel like her and Shawnette go.
Yeah.
Does your mom have a Boston accent?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. In fact, she tried FaceTiming me 14 times while we were on a phone call today.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you're doing. I think you're trying to FaceTime me while we're talking. That's why I have to keep hanging up on you and then calling you again. She was like, Melissa, I don't even know how to FaceTime. And I was like, you are doing you are succeeding at FaceTiming me for sure.
Oh, my goodness.
Jake last week making the comment about being cremated just reminded me, and Boston accents just reminded me of Uncle Ed
Oh.
when our Nana passed away. She was cremated, and my uncle got her
Nicest woman
ashes.
in
And
the nicest woman in our family, mind you.
Mm.
I'm sorry, not Nana, Grandma.
Oh,
That was a
never mind.
giveaway when you said
Not
nice.
Then not the nicest.
Not Nana, Grandma.
Scratch that. It was Grandma Helen.
Grandma
Scratch
Helen.
that.
Your face totally changed. You're like, nicest person in the world. And you're like, oh, no.
I was
She
like,
lost her right eye in a Boston Bruins hockey game. You know, she was a tough lady,
cookie.
but she was cremated and they gave her ashes to my uncle Ed. And then like a month later, and he was supposed to like go to Sedona and cast her ashes in Sedona because she was from Arizona, or she lived in Arizona a long time. And then he called my mom one day and he's like, "So I lost Ma." And she's like, "What? What are you talking about, Ed?" And he's like, "I lost Ma. I don't know what I did with her. I put her somewhere, now I can't find her. And now I disrespected her ashes. I cannot find Ma." And so time went by, months went by, and then eventually he was like, called back and was like, "I found Ma. She was in the back of the car. Yeah, her ashes, they were just in the back of the car the whole time."
Can you
So
imagine your own son is like, I lost you and now I found you. You were right here this whole time.
Yeah. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, so you can imagine how our trips out to California every year were with this uncle.
I feel like it's that thing where like the wife is like, go get Ma. And then the he goes out and opens up the back and he's just like, I don't see it. And then like it's right there, and you're like, I don't see it. And then it's like, I know I'm gonna go back and she's gonna walk
And she's
out.
gonna be
It's
right there.
It's right there.
It's right there.
Yeah.
That was them. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
our same uncle that we would be like driving somewhere and we would be on the road for like 14 hours straight, no stopping. And he would just like pull up to a gas station and just like start siphoning gas out of somebody else's car, like while they're in the station. And we're like, "Can we get a milk?" And he's like, "Shut up." And like, he's driving.
Got to get you girls back to the house so you can sort through those stacks of newspaper.
Those newspapers, your grandma saves newspapers and you know it. And when every time you ask her to throw them away, it makes her upset. Complete lunatics.
Does he want to come on the pod?
No, I quit. No. You would never, when I tell you, you'd never recover.
Oh man.
Actually, I accidentally sent him, he sent a new telephone number out to me and a bunch of his neighbors on accident once from WhatsApp, because I introduced him to WhatsApp and he added his contacts and he sent this mass message out. But people kept texting back from like all those different numbers. And he was like, "I don't want on here anymore. I got to get out of here." But then people just started having conversations with their neighbor. They're like, "Oh, you're Mark? Do you live down the street?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Please stop texting here." And like people would not stop texting in the community.
I loved
And
it.
it was killing me.
I love that
And
he had
he's-
no control over these
Yeah.
people and he created the non-control.
Yeah.
It was the best thing ever.
Killing sometimes. Oh,
I
yeah,
hate
Gladys.
it. Please stop texting me. You did this to yourself. He said that he bought a tour bus and he was going to start giving women tours, elderly women tours of Sedona, because he bought this bus. Never happened. Talked about it for 5 months.
What could go wrong?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely nothing. He's a genius. Are you kidding? He's incredible. He's incredible. He had not talked to Jenna or I for probably a decade. And then he calls me and I'm like, get worried because I never talked to him. I never plan on it. And he's like, "Melissa, it's Uncle Ed." Does not say to me, "Hello. Melissa, it's Uncle Ed. I need you to get on Google and look up this flight for me. Are you ready?" I'm not even kidding. Doesn't even ask if I'm in a car, nothing. I was like, "Hello, Uncle Ed. Are you ready? Flight 1279. Are you writing this down? Are you on Google?" I was like, "Nope, I'm none of those things. And I won't be able to do this. Have a good day."
All right. Well,
Call this episode "Where's Ma?"
Where's mom?
I actually would
lost
like
her.
it. I'd like a whole podcast where Jenna just actually recites stories about our uncle, because I feel like she has them locked down, locked and loaded, like so many of them.
We didn't even get to like any Jenna with like the Minnesota mom accent.
Oh my
stuff.
gosh.
We have so much
I can't-
content to still.
Oh,
Tell us your
you've still got a
song,
lot.
Jenna, but in the Minnesota mom accent.
Oh yeah, do your 3 songs in the Minnesota mom accent.
Oh man. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about the 3 songs. I was
Oh.
like, what 3 songs? Let me think about it while you're doing your 3 song.
Oh my goodness. People seem to
Chris.
not want to be prepared.
Oh, there's a song that I like called Golden by My Morning Jacket. So let's start with that. And then let's do Silent Movie by Pokey Lafarge. I really like Pokey Lafarge right now. I've been listening to like a lot of him.
I've never heard of him.
And then let's do Suspicious Mind by the Heptones. A little reggae.
Ooh, a little reggae.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh no.
Okay. Oh no. Oh yeah, you have to have Jenna do her impression.
Was he all right?
Well, was he all right?
Then I shot him. Did you shoot him a dirty look? No, with the gun. Oh. You know what? I feel like a line that we always quote. Have I said this before? I'll be mortified if I did. But Kimmy Schmidt, with the episode where she's in this very like ghetto school, she goes to talk to the principal, and everything is like going wrong in the school. It's like just a mess. And she sees a secretary and she's like, I'd like to talk to the principal, please. And the secretary's like, you can't. He's dead. Serious about education. So he went to a conference in Baltimore. But I feel like Devin and I will just use that for different stuff all the time now, where he'll be like, can you do the dishes? I'll be like, I can't. I'm dead. Serious about taking a nap right now. You can do a lot of variations with it. I think I have my songs.
All right, let's hear them.
Okay. These are all kind of like old ones, but they're just
we call
Driving
him
on 9 by the
Mr.
Breeders. What is it? The Palma Violets. Something friend. Where'd it go? Palma Violet's friend should get you there. And Karen Dalton, Reason to Believe.
Ooh.
Cool.
Okay, my 3 songs. Flip Your Pillow by Runo Plum.
Oh.
Cutie Girl Down. Cutie
What was
Girl.
that?
She's a monster.
Our Cutie Girl.
Oh.
Cutie Girl, Cutie Girl. Heaven Forbid by Maya Joy. Or Mia Joy, whatever. And then the song called Angry by Cryo Geyser is a new one I've never heard before. Cryo Geyser.
This is all new to me.
It looks like kind of like 90s, like silly, like their album. The Cutie, stop. The anyway, the cat's outside.
I'm looking it up.
It looks like this. It's like just like the word angry written across the top. And it's like kind of like a layered piece of paper. I don't know. It looks like just
Paper
some
found it.
like, huh?
Paper mache.
Yeah, like paper mache or something. And you're like, what is this? I don't know. I also listened to the entire Empire Records soundtrack again the other day.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's good.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up because
I would like to continue talking to Jenna, but I just, Jake, I've had about all I can take.
I can close this out and let you two just chat on, and I'll record it.
Yeah, I'm good. I actually have to go squeeze some lemon and some cuts.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good.
I have to go. I have to go because I have to make sure that cutie girl gets her butt medicine. So we have to leave.
Oh, girl.
Oh,
Jake's not impressed.
no, cats don't do it for me.
Yeah,
Only
well,
pink.
do it for Darren either until he met cutie girl.
Mm.
Cutie girl, cutie girl.
All right, we'll have fun with your cat's butt.
Chelsea.
Chelsea's got a lot of editing to do on
Chelsea
this.
got so much
Yeah.
editing. She's just like, I can feel like every minute that goes by, she's like, this is
Like,
so.
I want to kill myself.
I didn't know this was going to be a 4-hour pod.
We should have had a time limit.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're gonna have
we
to trim her
did.
way down,
I
Chelsea.
kept waiting for Jake to be like, okay, and he wasn't.
Well, I don't want to because like
I
we're
don't want to.
We're hanging.
all right. We're done.
Okay, perfect.
Bye. Great.
Adios, morons.
Hey, bye. Done.
Hasta luego, chicos.